Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit and another episode of What Are We Eating? Like you've heard me say before, Salisbury steak with rich brown gravy is my definition of comfort food. It's also a very popular frozen entree and frozen meal you can buy in the grocery store, and they've been around for a long time. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, I reviewed the Great Value Salisbury steak and potatoes. The meal cost $1.97 and I rated it 6 points out of 10. I thought the meal was pretty good, especially for under $2. The only major complaint I had was it wasn't a lot of food. So to solve the amount of food problem, I picked up the Banquet Salisbury steak mega meal with gravy and creamy mashed potatoes for a ridiculously low price of $1.74. That's more food than the Great Value brand and less money. The Banquet Salisbury steak mega meal is Salisbury steak made with chicken, pork, and beef with gravy and creamy mashed potatoes. Grill marks added. Really? Grill marks on a Salisbury steak? Who the does that? Can you imagine the look on my buddy's face when I called him and said, "Hey, come on over, we're going to throw some Salisbury steaks on the grill"? That just makes no sense. The mashed potatoes are made with real cream. Enjoy delicious comfort food with Banquet Hearty Salisbury Steak Mega Meal. Made in America, this classic has 28 grams of protein and comes with a generous helping of creamy mashed potatoes. Banquet is really pressed to get the Made in America point across, which I 110% fully support American products and American jobs. But they really make sure on the labeling that you know this is made in America, so there's no doubt about it. But me being the hardcore pessimist I am, it makes me personally question where did the ingredients come from. In my mind, with that much effort to tell you it was made in America, there's simply something about this product that's not from America. Now, had they stamped Made in America with American ingredients, I would have felt a lot better. That's simply my idiotic, convoluted way of thinking. This meal is 15.25 ounces, and like I said, it only costs $1.74, so you know the ingredients are of the highest quality. Now for the ingredients, and as always, there's a plethora of them. The fourth ingredient in the list is my least favorite, textured vegetable protein. I simply personally do not like it. If you like your meat to have the texture of a sponge, you'll love it. I haven't talked about MSG in a while, and I'm not really going to get into it now, but there's MSG in the gravy and mashed potatoes, so if you're one of those people that have a reaction or it bothers you in any manner, this is just an FYI. But there's also other sources of MSG and free glutamic acid in here as well. And I don't want to get into a debate on whether MSG affects people or not. MSG doesn't affect me, and I actually like it, but I do know some people have reactions to it. Now for the nutrition facts, and the serving size is the whole meal. There's 640 calories, 42 grams of total fat, 14 grams of saturated fat, 1 gram of trans fat, 140 milligrams of cholesterol, 2,220 milligrams of sodium, 700 milligrams of potassium, 39 carbohydrates, 6 grams of fiber, 3 grams of sugars, and 28 grams of protein. Take all those facts for what they're worth. The use by date is a long one, at April 20th, 2018. Now let's pull the tray out and heat it up. The directions say to cut a slit to vent, but it didn't say where to cut the slit, so I cut one over the Salisbury steak and one over the mashed potatoes. Then microwave on high for 4 minutes. Then move the patties around. Cover back up and cook for another 3 to 4 minutes. And don't forget to make sure it's at 165 degrees. After cooking for a total of 7.5 minutes and resting for 2 minutes, our Salisbury steak and mashed potatoes are ready. And it actually smelled pretty good. I mixed the Salisbury steaks around to make sure they were all coated with gravy. And then gave the mashed potatoes a good stir. Then I gave the mashed potatoes a try. And I usually don't like frozen dinner mashed potatoes. And these weren't great, but they weren't horrible like they normally are. They were definitely a little bit creamier, but they didn't even come close to the Boston Market's sexy mashed potatoes. Oh yeah, so creamy, so rich, so delicious. Get in my belly. I miss those Boston Market potatoes. They were so good. I got another bite of potatoes and dunked them in the gravy. The gravy was okay, not a ton of flavor, but pretty salty. Then it was time to take a bite of the grill-marked Salisbury steaks. The only thing I could really taste was the gravy. The Salisbury steaks themselves didn't really have a lot of flavor, but they weren't horrible, except for the spongy texture. I just do not like that. I tried a piece off of each patty just to see if they all cooked the same. And they did. There was no burn marks or overcooked marks or anything. Everything reheated nice and even. But then I had to try a bite with everything. Mashed potatoes, Salisbury steak, and gravy. This meal is edible, but the best thing about it was the mashed potatoes. And from my perspective, that's not really a good thing. Even though it cost a little more and you got a lot less food, the great value meal was so much better. On a scale of 1 to 10, I gotta give this a 3.5. The 3 points came from the mashed potatoes and the half point came from the gravy. Thank you all very much for watching. I definitely wouldn't recommend buying this. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.